This episode is sponsored by the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Details at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Grammy nominee Jordin Sparks performs live at the Atlantis in Washington, D.C. this Thursday night. She joined me to discuss her journey from winning Season 6 of American Idol to recording smash radio hits like Tattoo and Battlefield, en route to releasing her newest album, No Restrictions, next month.
Hi!
Hey, Jordin Sparks. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP in D.C.
No problem. Good day to you. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. Where are you joining us from?
I'm actually in New York City. I just did a TV interview on Good Day New York. Got to rock out with Living Color. So it was just really, really great. It's a good morning.
Wait, as in Glover, as in Cult of Personality, Living Color, you mean?
Yes, and they just played that song. It was amazing. Their new vinyl of their debut is coming out, I think, later in September. So they performed today. It was really cool.
Oh, yeah. Corey's called in a couple times and we've interviewed him. He's such a good guy, man. Oh,
Yeah.
And that's so awesome. Well, we should tell everyone you're joining us because you're coming to the Atlantis in D.C. this Thursday, August 29th. So literally only a couple days left to get tickets,
Yes.
folks. It's owned by the same group as like 930 Club and the Anthem, like those other big venues here. But I think it's a bit smaller. That was the whole idea, was like, they want like this live and intimate vibe, and that's sort of what the
Yes.
tour is, right? So tell
Yeah.
everyone you're calling it the No Restrictions tour after the new album. Why is that the perfect title for the tour? No Restrictions.
I know, right? Well, I feel like at this point in my life, in all areas, so like as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, as an artist, as a songwriter, as a human, I just feel like I'm kind of letting go of different things that maybe not held me back, but that just don't serve me anymore. You know how we grow and we elevate and we evolve. And so there are different pieces of me that are, that I'm just like, oh, well, I appreciate you, but I can't bring you with me in this next chapter, as well as no restrictions. And I don't want to be restricted by a box for my music. I don't want to be restricted by other people's opinions and different things like that. And I feel like I'm in a really good place. So that's why we titled it that album. And then I was just like, it just makes sense for it to go with the tour as well. And I also haven't performed, I haven't had like a tour like this in a really long time. So I'm very excited to get back out to see people, to see my fans, to be able to perform live for them. I've been performing, but to be able to do my own 1 hour, hour plus show and just do my thing, I am so excited.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome, and it's the perfect title. Before we get into any other career highlights or anything, I want to give you a chance to plug a song or two. Which one do you want to? If folks are buying tickets to come Thursday, what should they? I mean, buy the whole album, obviously, but give them a teaser of a song or two.
Yes, I would say pre-order the album. It's up for pre-order right now. It comes out September 13th, and then I would also grab my new single called Remember. It pays homage to Michael Jackson's Remember the Time. It's really kind of past meets present. It's really pretty, I feel like. I really love it. And then there's also another song on there called More Than Enough. That's like this pop dance song, kind of reminiscent to the feeling that you get with One Step at a Time. It's just really happy. It's fun. It's upbeat. I think people are really going to enjoy that as well. But there's something for everybody on this album. We've got my Southern gospel roots. We've got my choir roots. We've got country. We've got acoustic. We've got piano ballads. We have a power ballad. We have pop. We have R&B. So No Restrictions makes sense, because I was like, I'm going to give everybody everything, because I love all types of music, and people met me that way on Idol. I was singing something different every week. So just really wanted to tap into all the things that I loved.
No genre restrictions.
Exactly.
It's perfect. And you have us. Everyone's gonna want to run and check out the Remember. Do you remember the time?
Come on, really... sing. Yes, exactly.
Oh, I love it. All right. Well, you're talking about sort of, you mentioned Idol, so let's catch everyone up. So I know you were born in what, Phoenix in like 89.
Yep.
What did you listen to growing up, and were you watching Idol like the pre-Idol days? What was Jordin Sparks up to in Phoenix?
Yes, what was I doing? Still singing. I was still singing. I was singing everywhere, annoying my brother, singing
Yeah.
every day. But I definitely watched Idol before. I watched every single season. I watched Kelly, I watched Ruben, Fantasia, Carrie, Taylor, and then I got to audition. So I definitely was watching that show. I was a really big fan. So when I got to audition, I was really excited to be there, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I believed in what I could do. So I was like, if all the things line up, because there's so many variables that have to line up, I was like, I think I could actually do this. And then it happened. so,
Yeah.
so I'm really grateful that it actually worked out that way. But I was singing a lot. I was in choir in my school. I was singing at church. I was doing different competitions. And then music that I listen to, I listen to a lot of different things. So like with my grandparents, it was like Patsy Cline and Etta James and Jimmy Mathis and Nat King Cole. And then my dad
Yeah.
and my mom loved R&B. So they both loved Mariah Carey. They both loved Whitney Houston. They both loved Boyz II Men, Brandy. So I was listening to that. And then when I got to buy my own music, I guess when I was like 9, 10-ish, that's when bubblegum pop burst onto the scene. So Christina Aguilera, Jessica Simpson, Britney Spears, all the boy bands, NSYNC,
Of
Backstreet
course.
Boys.
Yeah. Of
So
course.
I've had a really good, well-rounded feeling, but I also love 80s hair bands. So Journey, Heart, Pat Benatar, Aerosmith. So I've got a lot of amazing influences from a lot of different places, country music, alternative and rock. Like I love everything. So I'm hoping that I can get to just keep continuing experimenting and also just doing genres that I love. Like I'd love to do a country album. I'd love to do an alternative album. I'd love to do a more choir vocal heavy album as well. So I got a lot of goals and dreams still. I got a lot of goals and dreams.
Absolutely. No, you've continued those influences through your career, and even when you were
yeah.
competing on Idol, it allowed you to,
hmm
try to homage so many different artists and everything.
hmm
Well, yeah, take me. It's probably hard to even describe because you've accomplished so much since, and we can get into it and towards as we go in this interview. But try to put yourself, if you can, on that stage when Seacrest says your name and the confetti fall. Like try and folks, by the way, and nothing against more recent idols, but this is season 6. So if unless you were alive back then, you don't realize how big this was. Like the top show, everyone knew. Those
It
first
was
few seasons.
massive.
So it was
Yes.
like this was like a cultural moment everyone watched before streaming and all of that. So yeah,
Right.
so you're in that moment. Describe what it's like to know that your life is changing as he says those words.
It's actually really crazy because I can put myself there. Definitely. It is
Yeah,
not hard for me to put myself there because it was literally the moment that changed my life.
yeah,
And I'm like sweating now thinking about it. But it was crazy because it was just such a whirlwind and we were in such a bubble then. There wasn't social media, there wasn't all the extra things. Like you found out about the show by watching it, watching the news, or blogs. Like that was it. So it really was an idol kind of mania, and the numbers were crazy. There were 35 million people watching us twice a week, and it was just so much. But I thought that I actually thought Blake was going to win. I definitely thought he was going to win. I thought it was going to be Melinda and Blake in the finale, and
oh
when it
wow.
was me, I was just so surprised because Blake, had all the hearts of the little girls, and like they just loved him and adored him, and he was so cute and he was so unique with his beatboxing. Like people really hadn't seen that, and I really thought he was going to win. So when Ryan called my name, I just, in the clip, I put my hands over my face because I just was like, oh my gosh, like this really just happened.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, I was standing there, everybody was clapping, the confetti pyrotechnics were going off, but I couldn't hear anything. It was like a movie, when it goes doo doo doo
Yeah.
doo. All I could hear was my heartbeat. And then I was just like looking at my family, and then Ryan hands me the microphone and is like, okay, and here to sing her single. And I was like, I don't know the words. I literally was just blank, and
You blank. You blacked
thank
out.
God they still came out. Yes, the song, I sang the song, but I don't remember actually singing it. it was so much. And then like the next day it was just straight to work. I was
Yeah.
actually out here in New York doing all the TV shows in the morning, and then we had to do all the press, and then I had to record the album, and then we had to go on tour, and then I had to put the
Yeah.
album out, and it was just like one thing after another.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wanted to win. I thought I could win. I didn't know I was going to win. I didn't expect to. But I mean, honestly, it literally changed my life, and people who voted for me, I get to do what I love because of that show, and on the level that I get to do it as. And I'm grateful that it happened in the time when it did, because I have this amazing fan base that has grown with me, and that is always like, hey, what are you doing? And I can't wait to hear what you're doing. And I'm just grateful that
Yeah.
people still care, you know what I mean? Because it
Yeah,
could be
of
the
course.
opposite. It could be the
Yeah,
opposite.
actually, and because a lot of us probably grew up with, a lot of your fans grew up with you because you were what, the
Yeah.
young, at least at the time. I don't know if the record's been broken since,
Oh
but
no, still,
still
and
age
still.
17, the youngest ever Idol winner. So
Yes.
the whole legions of fans grew up with you. And we got to say the coronation song you're talking about that you referenced was "This Is My Now." I think
Yeah.
looking back on them, a lot of times that's just a transition into the album, but I thought that was pretty good
Right.
and it did pretty well on
It
the
was a
chart.
great song.
Yeah.
Scott Crepane, and I think a few other people wrote it, but it was just so beautiful. And I remember singing it because we had to pre-record things. That was the first
Right.
time on Idol that we put stuff up for iTunes. So we had to pre-record the songs before we actually had to perform them. And I think that made it a little bit more challenging as well, because you could only perform 2 minutes on the
Yeah.
show, but some of the songs were 3, 4, 5 minutes long at that point. So sometimes it would kind of, make us a little bit more nervous, because we would sing the whole song previously, and then we had to sing the cut down version. So it was
Right.
really nerve wracking, but yeah, I definitely love that song. It really holds a special place in my heart for sure.
Yeah, this brand new thing called iTunes.
The
uh,
brand new thing. Yep.
that's
That
hilarious.
iPod. What is that?
Yeah, what is that? Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, so with that, you're sort of off to the races. I'll try to speed up here. We're trying to go a little chronologically,
No,
but
you're
that
good.
first
You're good.
self-titled album, Jordin Sparks in '07, you
Yes.
had the Grammy nomination for the Chris Brown thing, the No Air, which was
Yes.
huge.
Yes.
But tell me about Tattoo. That one is what's the secret to making something that catchy, but it's also had you weave like a great message of moving on. You're carrying them with you tattooed on your heart, but it's time for a new beginning. Like
Yeah.
that you kind of combine the catchiness and the message. That's the trick to it all.
Honestly, it's funny because now, all these years later, I listen to that song and I'm like, I don't even think I really understood the weight of what I was saying at the time. Like
Right.
I interpreted it the way that I could, as best as I could, being 17 years old. But I gotta attribute it to the producers, Stargate. They were massive at the time. They were doing so many songs. They were like ruling pop. And then the songwriters, actually, they absolutely killed it. I think it was Amanda Ghost, and I can't remember the other ones at the moment. I'm so sorry, but please don't kill me. But I remember hearing it, and I was just like, this song is so much fun. I love singing it. And you're right, it was so catchy. I was like, this is a fun song. I really, really like this. And then we decided that it would be my first official single, and it just blew up. I mean, the crazy thing is that there's no blueprint to really doing this. Like you can do artist development and different things like that, but there's just no guarantee that things are gonna hit. Even now, music is just fickle that way. You just don't know what people are going to gravitate towards, or if it's gonna last. Let's say the longevity. Let's put it that way. And so putting that song out was just kind of like, okay, here we go. And being from Idol, people were just waiting and expecting like what was going to come from me. So there was a
Right.
lot of pressure as well. But I'm really grateful for the way that it turned out, because we did that song. Then No Air came out. Then One Step at a Time. And I was just like, boom, 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 boom. It was great. I'm so grateful, because even with Idol as well, a lot of people are always like, well, how did you do it? Like, what's the success? I'm like, I have no idea. I just picked songs I just picked songs that I related to. And I mean, at the time, the label I was with was really, they were very invested, and they really wanted to see the project do well. So I think there's just a lot of things that have to come together to make it work. But I'm just grateful that people really, loved my music and loved me, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they loved me as well. So I'm grateful that people are still like that. And all I now I come all the way here, and I've put out multiple albums, and here I get to come with my fourth full length EP. It's been a while, but I'm one of those people that I like to live, in between my music, so that I have something to say. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that
you
it
got to have
really
something. You need material to write about. Yeah.
exactly, so that I
Yeah.
have something to talk about and that I really relate to, and it's really coming from experience that I've had. So
Yeah.
I've there's a lot of changes have happened over the years, so I got
Yeah.
a lot to say. Got a lot to
Absolutely,
say.
absolutely. If we have time to hit one more of your classic hits, if that's okay.
Yes,
Battlefield was
yes.
massive. And it kind of, to me, it kind of proved that a lot of the Idol winners can come out and have a really big first album because they're riding
Mhm,
the momentum. But you
exactly.
proved that there ain't no sophomore slump happening here. Battlefield was just as big. And I always thought it'd be kind of we need a Pat Benatar mashup with you too, by the way. Love
Oh
is a
my god.
Battlefield. Why is love like a battlefield?
Yes,
You two need to
yes.
get together on that. But just talk about how important that song was to keep your success going.
It was, I mean, look, I thought there was pressure on the first album, but when we started the second one, I was like, how do I follow that up? I had
Yeah.
my own shoes to fill. So it was very intriguing, but again, it had that. I miss those days when those pop rock power ballads were like the thing, and I was like, oh, I can do that. I can definitely do that. Ryan Tedder, who was absolutely killing it at the time as well, and still wrote the song, and a few other amazing songwriters as well. And I just, as soon as I heard it, I was like, this is where I am at this time in my life. I relate to this. I feel this. And I just was like, okay, let's go this way. So I wanted to lean a little bit more into my rock influences that I really loved, as well as being able to just really let my voice soar and fly. Again, had no idea that it was going to do what it did, but yeah, people were patiently waiting, and it released, and people just like they just ate it up, and I
Yeah.
was so grateful. And then we followed it with like this, the little the sample of Shannon's "Let the Music Play" and did SOS, and that kind of was a
Yeah.
complete left turn.
Yeah.
So we had so many amazing things. I'm just again, it all comes back to just being grateful, like, because
Yeah.
you just never know. I wish I could give you more concrete definite things, but I always go with my gut.
Yeah.
That's the kind of person I am. I go with my intuition, what feels right, and what I relate to, and also what I want to sing for the rest of my life.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I'm grateful that I have all these songs that I absolutely love, and also their meanings change for me as well, like we were talking about on Tattoo. One step at a time changes for me every time I sing it. It applies to a situation in my life differently every time I sing it. Battlefield as well. It's quite cathartic every time I sing it. I'm like, after, it's like this huge adrenaline rush after I'm done. But I will be doing all those songs, all those hits that you know and love at the show at the Atlantis. And so I'm really excited to be able to give them that piece of me, but also allow them to meet me where I am now with the new record as well.
Absolutely. Everyone has to buy tickets to the Atlantis. You'll hear all the songs we
Please.
mentioned and so many more that we definitely would never even have time from all the other albums. What, Right Here, Right
Yes.
Now, the Christmas Cider and Hennessy, and the new one. There's so
Yes.
many.
Yes.
And for
I
King and Country
appreciate
Grammy
you. Thank
nomination
you.
for Love Me Like I Am. Like you co-wrote The Wave for Ariana
Yes.
Grande. You've done it all. We don't have time to go into all of them. But we
Yes.
appreciate you joining us.
Oh, thank you.
And I wanted to ask, beyond the music really quick before we close,
Yes.
you're expanding into movies and Broadway and acting. Like you were in Sparkle, Whitney Houston was your mom, rest in peace. You've done Hallmark
Yes.
movies, A Christmas Treasure. You've done
Yes.
In the Heights and Waitress on Broadway. I mean, Sugar Butter Flower. She Used to Be Mine will rip your heart out every night on
Yes, it will. Oh, it ripped my heart out every night,
Oh my
Lord.
gosh. But just yeah, what's it been like getting to show more than just just a singer, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Right. No,
getting to
I
show another
understand.
side.
I've always loved live performance. I've loved anything creative, right? Anything that falls under the creative umbrella, I love to do. And Broadway was where I really saw live stage performance, and everything kind of came together. You were acting, you were singing, you were dancing, and then it was a live performance every night. I loved that. So being able to showcase those things and get to experience them in real life was
Mhm.
it's just been incredible. Broadway is a huge commitment. It's a lot. So I do have a big, there's pretty much big chunks in between because you got to
Yeah.
uproot, you got to move to New York.
And it's
But
every
there's
night on stage. It's got to be grueling,
yes,
grueling.
but I will say it is a brutal schedule. But after doing Idol and doing Broadway, everything else is a cakewalk. I can handle anything. I
Yeah.
can handle anything. Like this tour, it's a mini tour, but I have a day off in between and stuff like that. Broadway is like, no. You have another 2-hour show again tonight and the next night.
Yeah.
But I love being able to do everything, and I at this point in my life as well, like I know that I can, and so I want to be able to do those things. If those opportunities arise, I definitely want to do them. And now that I have my own little one, my 6-year-old DJ, I want to show him that it's possible to do the things that you love, and it's okay to do them and to go after those dreams. Like they don't just stop just because you've achieved something or you've reached another goal. There's always new things to look forward to and to do. And I just love that you knew all those things about me. That's crazy. And when
You got to throw a little research in before it,
but when people start listing those things, I sit back and I'm just like, wow, I really have done a lot. I feel like I've lived 1,000 lives since American Idol has started, and I'm just so excited to live 1,000 more.
Absolutely. And that next 1,000th life starts at the Atlantis in DC.
Yep, exactly.
Thursday, August 29th, Jordin Sparks. You don't want to miss it. Only a couple days left. Get your tickets, everybody.
Please come see me. I can't wait to see you.
It's going to be awesome. Literally final seconds, final question.
Yes.
There was an American Idol March Madness bracket. Who would win? And you can't say yourself. Like, okay. That's hard because I know you're probably friends with a lot of them.
If you take me out of it, okay.
That's an easy win.
I think the final two, I would say, that's hard.
You got Kelly, you got Carrie, you got Adam Lambert. Oh, it's Chris Daughtry, even the Jennifer Hudson, the non-winner. Okay, so you can throw them in there.
Oh, snap. Okay. I would say, obviously OG Kelly for sure. She would be in the final 5, final 2, final 3.
Yeah.
Kelly, and then I would probably put. Oh, this is hard. I would probably put. It would be it'd be a 3-way tie between Carrie, Fantasia, and Daughtry.
Yeah.
I definitely think that I don't know. They would have to fight for it. They would have
leave
to
it up to the voters to vote.
The sing off, the duel that they do, they gotta sing to get their final place. But that's actually really crazy. I wonder if they can do that. That's a good idea. It's been so long now that you definitely could do like an American Idol Madness.
That should be its own. That's a show. There you go.
It is. We'll produce it together.
Sounds good. But we know you would win if you were in there. That's why I had to.
I'm gonna put myself in the winner's seat.
There you go.
Definitely top 5.
All right, cool. Well, I look forward to watching that one day, the bracket. But in the meantime, come to the Atlantis, everybody.
Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. You guys grab your tickets, Ticketmaster.com, go to the Atlantis' website, or you can go to all of my social platforms. I have it in the link in my bio. I can't wait to see you.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.